Hey Aquarius. Those new to Opal Oracle, welcome. Anyone returning, hi. Now, I don't know if you can see Izumi right here. She was just laying in the corner and she came right over and sat behind me. Yeah. Like she was scared of something. Like she wanted to be, I'm sitting in front of her, right? So I am the protector right now. And in a way, it's hard to tell because there's music playing in the background. Like, what if the sound of what's happening is in this space or if it's outside of this space? There's something about perception. Because animals are sensitive, right? They express things and can see and feel things like children, right? Because they're not... they don't live in today, they live in the day of tomorrow, right? A place to which we can never visit. Now, so you may have to be the comforter in a way, right? So just something to think about, okay? There's no need to be afraid. You're safe, you're loved. You are safe, you are loved, and you are protected, okay? I know that you're waiting upon something too. Like you keep kind of, is it here yet? Is it there? Is it here yet? Kind of, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Because you're excited about whatever the thing is that's coming, right? You feel like this, whatever it is that's about to arrive, is going to expand your ability and the opportunity within this dimension, okay, and beyond. It all depends on how we use it, right? So I came up with a new spread. Before we begin, there's an important thing to remember. No, this is not a coffee brandy, it's just iced coffee. I don't drink. But everyone is, Libra came before you, so there's something about that. Whether it's in your chart or you have one in your life, or or partnerships, right? How does that play into contracts, things like that. So let's see what you have in your heart. Wow, okay. In your soul. In your mind. We'll talk about that. What you want. Wow. What you need. Okay? And the advice. There's you. Now, very, very, very interesting reading, Aquarius. Hold on a second. This one keeps turning towards the Emperor. Something about, well, the Emperor's certainly in charge, right? He's the Emperor is the father, and Capricorn actually technically rules the father. So you could be dealing with a male, you could be dealing with a fatherly figure, a person that's older than you, that sort of determines your money in a way, also has presented to you what worth is, something like that. Or you'll be sorting out worth in accordance to, well, is your worth determined by your bank account? Is your worth determined by your relationship? Is your worth determined by your, what, it's okay. It's okay. I'm actually gonna turn off the music. It's really weird, like, it's called Constructive. It's a German band, but it's freaking zooming out. Good girl, Amy. Is that too much, baby? It's okay. Don't worry. I'm in a new space. So it's like, how do we adjust to the energy, right? Because sometimes if something enters our environment, or we enter a new environment, and that can even just be in our mind or energetically speaking, maybe enter something also this makes sense with Libra, and this is also Gemini's card, is of communication, so you may have to have communications with your partnerships. I see financially, I see intimately, I also see within the family in some way or another. Of course, this can be blood related, or just like soul family. Maybe there needs to be people that you expose yourself to, okay, so that you feel comfortable. I see that your soul needs a little bit more passion, like a little more get up and go. I'm not saying that you don't have it, I'm just saying that that's what your soul wants, and it's actually going towards this. So in a way, some of you wish that it's like you want more passion in your relationships. Now, of course, this could be sexually, or just like inspirationally, right? Like, because sometimes, even with ourselves, sometimes we have a lull, right? Because we're too worried about money, because we're too worried about what we're supposed to be doing in life, societally speaking, according to the man, if you will. And I'm not being sexist when I'm saying this. I'm saying like the man, like whatever life is determining whatever societal indoctrination we play into. And whether we're willing to look at it in a different way or not. And how do we express that individuality, right? When we're up against the confines of restrictive contracts, I heard. Now, this could just be the contract with yourself. Like, how do you perceive hold on a second. I see you want more creation within the home, okay? Now the home, I see this as a physical, literal place. I also sense, because lately it's just been really strong, where your home is your body, okay? Being really in touch. The pentacles also represent your body, and this is you giving to your body appropriately. This is your solar plex, this is your throat chakra, okay? This is your root chakra, being open, giving. It's not all coiled up down there. It's releasing itself, okay? It's opening up, and when I said that, like all of this opened up, okay? Which therefore, when we open our shoulders, we're opening our heart, opening the solar plex, we're also opening our throat. Like part of the reason that you, in yoga, when you do like a back bend, or I guess that would be camel or something, right? Whatever you want to call it. I remember as a child, I would do that all the time. I'd flip right backwards and flip forward, and it was no big deal, but I hadn't done that in many years, just because I was busy with work or whatever I was doing. And I tried to do it recently, and it was difficult to breathe, right? Those muscles became so tight from putting our head down, from like, you know, this kind of shit, right? That's what we're trained to do now, or to stare at our computer or whatever it is. There's such an importance to the throat chakra. I just want to I feel like, will you do this with me? Like, it's important. Like, look up, but don't pinch the back of your throat here, right? Don't overextend it so that your vertebrae are crunching. It's just like picking your head up. expanding that, trying to speak. You can feel the vibration of it too. Even if you lightly put your hands on it, you'll tell which side is more vibrating more. Okay? There's something about that. Now, I see whatever you want, you're going to get. This is Aries, you know, this is like, I am. And I see that if you don't get what you want, you're totally willing to turn your back on something. But not because you're trying to be rude, but because you're trying to find your heart. Right? Because it's taken you a long time to get to this position of higher understanding, right? You had to go through all this. Assess these, right? Assess where it is that you've been tight. Assess where you learned that from. Okay? All the fours are ruled by the Emperor. Look at this, 4, 4, 4. Isn't that fascinating? Okay? The 4 is where the mother lives. Wow. 3, look at these 3 women in a row. Okay? All this feminine energy. It's really important. Okay? The 4th house is Cancer. It's where, well, that's childhood. That's marriage. Libra is also marriage. And what is marriage but a contract? Now, I was saying this, I think it was to Gemini, but I feel like with Uranus, your heavenly body is so beautiful. It's helping the collective understand things in a really loving, well, it's just a collective way, right? It's good. It goes to show that we all have a lot of things in common. It just depends. It's like we're all doing the same thing in our own way. Okay? We're all wanting to achieve the same thing in our own way. Like everyone wants happiness, right? In a way. Sometimes happiness to people is, well, I don't know, getting drunk and doing drugs till 5 a.m. Some people's happiness is just watching TV and going to their basic 9 to 5 and having dinner on the table at 5 p.m. Hold on. Some people need to travel. Some people don't like leaving the town that they're from. Some people like bright light. Some people like the dark. You know, everyone's doing their own thing in their own way, but we are all we're attempting to reach the same destination. Okay? So now in relation to what I was telling Gemini, it's like, how would you define yourself if the contracts that you have with people, with persons, places, and things, if you took those all away, right? Those contracts were broken in a sense. How would that affect who you are? It's something to think about. Okay? That's your advice. Is to think about it. Ask questions like, why is it that, what is fairness to me? What is fairness to me? I also see that the advice is for you, that because this is what you need, okay? You need reciprocity. You need an even amount of give and take for the amount of time and money and effort that you put into things with persons, places, and things. Okay? It can't just be one person on top, one person on bottom. It's not about the sub and the dom. It's about, well, some people, for their happiness, they need to be a giver. Like Libra, right? These scales, since you came after them, it's like one of their, their karmic lesson is about giving. And to give to them feels really, really good, you know? But part of their lesson is like, how do they give to themselves, right? And that obviously has something to do with you. And then also understanding that each person is different in the way that they give and receive. Now, we talked about this before, didn't we, in the June reading, about the 5 languages of love, right? How each person gives and receives love in a different way. And it's not about your partnerships, your contracts with people, and them being the same. Ultimately, it's about whoever you're working with, the way that you give, they need to receive it that way. That's how they receive. If those things are different, well, then it will be conflictual. Okay? So, however simple it may seem, and I don't know who came up with the 5 languages of love, but it does make sense. Maybe you could do a little research on that. I'm sure you could find it on the internet, or I feel like a lot of people have it in their library now. It's just a little book. But it's interesting just to find out. You know, some people are really contented with just having gifts. It makes them really, really happy. I mean, like as a one example, like, I guess I like receiving things, physical things. Sure, you want to give me a gift? That's very nice of you, thank you. But to me, that's not necessarily the loving, that isn't how I necessarily receive love. I think I receive love the best through quality time. You know, we don't have to be doing anything or saying anything or having the fanciest dinner or whatever. It could just be like a walk, you know? Taking the time out of your day to spend time with me, that shows me love. You know, and just figuring that out for yourself, because we all have little parts of it, right? Like, of course, there's like physical attention, like physical touch is really important to some people. That's how they give love, is they're like, hi, how are you? Hi, hi, hi. You know, like super huggy, lovey people. Some people are not touchy-feely at all, you know? So there's something about that, Aquarius. Figuring it out, right? Now, I also see that you want someone to be a little less serious, to have more fun, okay? To sort of step out of whatever their worries are in their mind, right? There's an energy of like, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do this, 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 and this. This is Capricorn, right? Like, I have to do this right now. I cannot go against the system. I must abide by the law. I better abide by the law. I don't know why I'm doing that voice. But there's something about it that's just so fucking serious. But like, why are we so serious? You're not that serious. Okay, and that's kind of why in your soul it's like, can we go have fun now? Right? You go from the page to the night. Like, let's go have fun. Right? And it was in your soul, but it moved over into your heart. So your heart, like, it wants to be passionate. There's like, and the thing is sometimes is, whoever it is that you're involved with also, you're supposed to be involved with them, okay? But there is some sort of like test that's happening right now, and someone's mind is kind of pulling them into which energy. This is mind, this is soul now. Mind, soul. Okay? These are, look at these, I mean, they're the same. It's the same thing. It's just a different energy. Okay? And it's what you choose. Your mind, you being an air sign, your advice is to ask a little bit more questions before you make any decisions about whatever this is and wherever it is that you're trying to go. okay? Whether you're pushing into something or not, because I see that it's not the time to rush right now. Okay, it's more about figuring out, like, okay, you want some sort of adventure, right? You want adventure in your home, energetically, in your relationships, right? Ah, interesting. You definitely do want some sort of expanse. This card can also represent travel, and so can the Knight of Wands. Now the thing is like, I see for most of you, for those of you involved in a relationship, I see like this mountain, and then I see these mountains in the background. There's two here, you're really close to it. This is the mountain, you're right near the mountain. Here's God, here's all your situation, you're all tangled up, right? In a positive way. You're like, yeah, this is who we are, this is what we're building, blah, 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 right? This is what we're building, it's right underneath it, solid. There's some sort of regularity to it, there's some sort of like, responsibility attached to it, but then it's like, obviously, there's something where in any relationship, I find personally, but it's expressing here strongly, is that everybody needs a little time alone. Every person in every relationship. I don't care if you have the most intertwined, what do they call it in Cat's Cradle? Kurt Vonnegut's Cat's Cradle, it's called like a dupros, right? Or dupros, I forget how you say it. It's like where people are, even when they're absolute soulmate, like intertwined, you know, one person dies and the next person dies the next day. It's like they couldn't be away from each other, right? Even those relationships, you got to go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? But each person needs a certain kind of distance away, and I see that there's a need to have distance so that it doesn't become so serious, because sometimes that space between, even if it's just a few 2-3 days, right, it helps. It really does help. It separates the physicality of the situation. If you feel tied to your relationship like this, well, you got to figure out what puts you back into this energy. And now both people have to play a part with that and have to be understanding to it. Okay, again, the 5 languages of love are going to determine how you go about this situation. Now, this can also, it doesn't have to be just your intimate, sexual, whatever relationships, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever. This is also your friends. This is also your work life. That's why you receive vacations at work, because they're like, I know if you don't leave and you just constantly are like doing, do this, do that, it's not fun. That's not fun at all. And everybody needs fun. What are we doing for the inner child? That's your advice too. It's a page. Very interesting reading. Let's see what your inner child wants to say about money and about this Emperor. Came out again. Although this is passion and excitement, it was just 24. That's a 6 and a 6. That's a 12. That's Pisces. Okay? It's also the end of the cycle. So, in a way, because sometimes I see this as the teenager inner child. This is the most misbehaved inner child. I mean, yes, there's positivity to it, but this is the most reactionary inner child, okay? It's like where this one's like whispering in his ear, right? Like I'm not happy, like, and this is right below the devil too, right? Like, this is what I'm worried about, this is what I'm thinking about, this is what I'm not happy about, but you're not expressing it out loud. You're just expressing it inside of you, right? And then it starts moving your energy around, and then all of a sudden you want to make some, you take whatever's going on in your mind, and then you react externally. But I see what that does is it's a reactionary process that you probably get from your father, okay? Or the way that he reacted to it. Like you don't react, but then when you do react, it's so reactionary that it makes something scary. Because they're not willing to be vulnerable. Because that would show that they're on bottom. You know what I'm saying? Whoever was the dominant parent, whatever, doesn't have to be the father. Female mothers can be masculine. And I also see that, yeah, there is something about, this is Cancer's card too. Cancer and Aries. I feel. Somebody's very, neither one of these people are smiling, okay? It's really important. How we feel is how we determine and see who we are is what determines how we feel. How we feel determines who we see ourselves as. It's really important, the feelings, because you have no cups here. Okay? Let's see. The Chariots also travel, I see you need to be around like lively people, okay? You need to keep that energy high. Even if you're around other people, right? They're just trying to bring you down, anything like that, whatever their energy is, I want you to be like, don't react to it. Just, what was that reading in May? And I'm getting all tingly again like I did. You need music, okay? Music that makes you feel good. Music that makes you move your body, okay? When I'm saying this, my whole crown chakra is all tingly and it's going up and out, okay? And there's not even any music playing. Just moving your body, dancing is so important, okay? Like I'm Middle Eastern, well, I'm Middle Eastern and Scottish. I like my mix of ethnicity, but to me, I love that music. Like Armenian music is like, I don't even know what you call it. It's like 7/16. You know, it's not like a standard like, not that I don't love 4/4 time. I'm just saying that there's something about switching it up, but not expecting anybody else to go with your flow of things. It's just about you being cool with you, okay? You can't change anybody. You can't make anybody look at this, okay? Or talk about it. But what you can do is love yourself, okay? Keep filling yourself up with that yellow and blue again. And what does yellow and blue equal? Green. So I see all those colors would be very important for you to wear. Yellow and blue is really good, okay? Let's do a word. I love this. Okay, hold on. I just saw the letter U. You are important, okay? You are safe. You are loved. You are protected. Aquarius. Oh, that's not it. Hold on. The letter U actually landed in my lap, too. Aquarius. Oh, the moon's outside during the day. Awesome. Okay. Let's see what you got. Ooh. There's a duo. What's a duo? Two people singing. Two people singing together in harmony with one another, right? I see that within the relationship, yes, there is a we, right? We. But there is always an importance to keep I in there. And not out of the ego, but just an independence within that relationship. But understanding, how does that independence work into we? How do these things interplay, okay? Like, for example, obviously, oh, there's a turkey vulture. Look, 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 can you see it? Oh my God. Oh, I hope you can, oh, you can't see it. There's huge, it's a huge turkey vulture. And then you know what? So the sun's out over there, right? I wonder if you can see the moon. Where is it? Right. It's right up there, on the top of that peak. It's faint. So like, how does that work, right? So the sun's out and the moon's out at the same time. Almost parallel with each other. Now, if we lived on a ball, so they say, this is daytime, this is nighttime, that doesn't work if both are here. So there's something about an alternative perspective, not to prove anyone wrong or anyone right. It's not about an argument. It's just about an observation. And through that observation, just being excited about finding out something new, even if it's about yourself. Because sometimes traveling, you don't have to go anywhere to travel. You can travel like in your imagination, wherever you are, because a place doesn't bring you peace. That's always in here. Wherever you are, there you are, right? All right, I love you so much. It was just 32, 32. That's a 10.